right, so what can you take from the first Northwestern game and apply to this, other than not turning the ball over?
Right. Well, I think that's first and foremost for us, especially coming off the last game we just played, and very fortunate to win the game with that many turnovers. So I think that's where it starts for us, is just getting quality shots and having quality possessions, and not turning the ball over. And you never want to take anything away from the defense, because like back-to-back games we've played them, they turned us over in both those games. So you from your perspective, you put it on yourself and say take care of the basketball, but you also got to give credit to Northwestern and their defense.
Bowie's going to just be the focal point from a defensive perspective. You've seen enough of him now to know him pretty well.
Right.
Just kind of do what you
Yeah.
did last time, both glances and Paolo.
Yeah, he. There's guys that are tough shot makers. Like that's what you still want him to take tough shots, right? You don't want him to get to the free throw line. You don't want layups. You don't want rhythm shots. But sometimes his tough shots are, they're rhythm for him. It might not be rhythm for other people, but they're rhythm for him. So, he's magical when he gets it going. And we've seen that in back-to-back games. So you make it hard on him. Don't foul him. But you got to make it difficult for him. If he just gets into a rhythm and he can get to his sweet spots for his floaters and his threes, and you're fouling him and he's getting 10 free throws, it's going to be a long night for you, which it's been a long night for us the last two times we played.
How does he make everybody else around him better? They seem to have the right pieces last year and then again this year with a shot maker, guys inside.
Well, you've got shot makers with him, and then he's got guys that have just grown. Like Barnheiser's really developed into a great Big Ten player. Very interchangeable, can go inside, outside, rebounds, passes, knows how to play. Their backcourt gets 70 points, against us. So it just wasn't him, even though he had 30 points. With the other two guys getting, 20 points apiece, and both of those guys have been, fabulous. So, Boo Buie is no doubt like the leader of that group. But the guys I just mentioned are really, really good players in this league. And, now like Matthew Nicholson has really played well here last 2-3 weeks. He had a hiccup in one game, but for the most part, he's been really good. If they took him out of the lineup and then put him back in. So they got a good team. They got a team that can play on both ends. They can make shots. They can disrupt you. So it's going to be a tough game.
Bob Cousy award list came out, top 10. No Braden Smith. Kind of seems to be a common occurrence.
Yeah, it was like the Indiana high school sectional. I think they just drew it out of a hat. So they didn't draw his name out of a hat. Yeah, it doesn't make much sense. I mean, I would think that anybody that has a committee that's going to do something, you sit down and you go through stats, you go through, just everything that's happened. It's back-to-back years. I mean, looked at his head-to-head with a couple guys that are on there. Not to say that they shouldn't be on there, because they're all good players. There's nobody on that list that doesn't deserve to be on that list, right? It's like a Coach of the Year or the Player of the Year award. There's more than one person that could be a Coach of the Year or the Player of the Year that's deserving. Doesn't mean one guy's not more deserving than the other. But if you go look at his numbers and how efficient he's been and how he's played and what his team's done, his team has the #1 toughest schedule in the country. And so, like, when you beat the people that we have been able to beat, and then you look at that, and then you look at his numbers, it doesn't make any sense how he's not on there. But I saw one year when Caleb Swanigan was the best big man in the country, but yet he didn't get the Karl Malone award, and I was just blown away. But things like that happen, and it is what it is. Win the next game.
Your program's been really good on the offensive glass here for a few years. Has that been by design, or did it just happen organically via the guys you've got in your program?
It's been by design. We put more time into it in terms of what we're doing offensively and where we're trying to get shots from, and then how we're, doing our job, whether I'm a safety or whether I'm picking the ball up or whether I'm a rebounder when shots go up.
Can you kind of put a face on that? How do you scheme for offensive rebound?
Well, when you run plays and you do stuff, you got to know where shots are coming from. So you're running for the first option, second option, third option. And in those three options, shots are going to come from three different places. But when they come from three different places, they could come from three different people, right? So when they do, what are the other people doing? So like when you go through a set play and you shoot the ball from the right wing, well, where's the ball going to go? The ball's going to go opposite, 2/3 of the time. The ball can squirt right to that nail. So we bring our point guard in there and he gets long rebounds, and then our bigs go to the glass And then sometimes we have 2 back, and sometimes we have 1 back. It depends on who shoots the basketball. So if you go through 25 sets every day and you work on it, while you're working on it, work on setting your defense and work on rebounding. It's 5-on-0, but you're consciously having mental reps to help yourself score the basketball, but also if you miss, get another chance to score the basketball.
How much do you look for in recruiting when you recruit a guy like Mason or Trey or Caleb?
Yeah, it's just part of the package, right? And if you got the physical skills to play at this level, you look at everything. So you look at their ability to score, you look at their ability to rebound, you look at the ability to be coachable. You go right down the line with your checklist without going through everything.
Just the Big Ten scheduling format moving forward, do you have an opinion on how this should be done?
Not really. I know they got to crunch numbers, and they had to cut a couple teams that were going to be at the bottom, for the tournament because they had to make it work.
Do you know if Indiana's going to be protected if there's only 3 double plays?
I would assume so, but I don't know that for sure. That's a good question.
I'm sure you prefer that to be a home and away every year, right?
Yes, yeah. They actually took it away, and I don't know why they took it away, and then we were able to get it back. So.
Going back to rebounding, you were out-rebounded as a team for the first time this last
Right.
game. Does that mean anything to you? Does that worry you at all?
Yeah, that's always a concern. It's a concern when we out-rebound people, just because sometimes when you do a good job on the glass, just like natural normal behavior is to relax. Okay, we got this figured out. When in reality, the next team's coming. It's a different challenge. So, we've made reference to it. So we're since I've been at Purdue, we're 151-15 when we out-rebound people. We have fewer turnovers. So we are 6-48 when we have fewer rebounds and more turnovers, and that's what we had against Rutgers. So that's one of the 6 wins. So that was an outlier, the fact that we won that game. So the moral of the story is get a lot of rebounds and don't turn the ball over.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you have a team now that can figure out ways to win when you're not playing.
Right. Yeah, you gotta when you have those 2 things go your way, like other things can happen, you can still win, right? But when you don't, you gotta, we got to the free throw line more than them. We led the whole game. However you want to look at it, there's always some variables in there that's gonna help you.
Some people have taken note of your wardrobe lately, last 2 games. Has that been a decision, or you brought the suit out a few times?
Yeah,
so.
it was coaches versus cancer, suits and sneakers.
Right.
So we have to wear. Yeah, that's it's kind of crazy. It's called suits and sneakers, and then some coaches in the country they don't wear their suit.
So the Rutgers game
It's
was
just
also-
sneakers for them. Yes. Yeah. So both games last week
okay.
are suits and sneakers.
Okay.
So that's.
When did you make the active decision as a coach? Because you used to wear suits a lot when you were younger.
Right.
The
When we went to COVID, and then that's when when we talked on there. It's not a rule that you have to wear a suit, and so we just kind of talked as coaches to say that, hey, let's, the conference office be okay if we didn't wear suits, if that's what we wanted to do. Some people wear suits still, but I like being comfortable. So.
I think Coach Katie just like throwing a jacket in the crowd. So.
Yeah, you can't throw your pullover, right?
Well, you could.
You could. You could. All right.